and welcome, racing fans. I am your host, Stinky Wan, and I'm joined by co-commentator middle name Orion for what promises to be an incredible race at the Singapore Grand Prix. The Marina Bay Street Circuit is notorious for its tight corners and unpredictable weather conditions, making it one of the most technically challenging tracks in the world.
Yeah, and as we head into the round 10 of the Champions Series in the Champions Division, the stakes are higher than ever. The top teams are battling for first in the standings, with defending champ Limp facing fierce competition from veteran driver Miller, who has consistently been strong throughout the season. So sit back, relax, and get ready for an unforgettable experience. We're thrilled to bring you the Singapore Grand Prix, and we can't wait to see who comes out on top.
Constructor standing, we can see with McLaren at P1 with 273 to the 204.
Going to be a close race, certainly. Only
Very
19
tight
points separating that constructor standing right now in our 10th race here.
With the drivers' comparisons, we can see Limp and Miller have both driven solid the entire season,
leading their respective teams to more of those constructor points as well. So, you can see right now Limp has 5 wins versus Miller's 4. Both have 8 podiums. You can see Limp taking a slight advantage in those fastest lap points, as well as those polling positions as well.
Yeah.
However, Limp does have 1 DNF, which certainly plays into how close of a competition this is for those individual point standings. Those are can be at the end of the season, in all honesty, the difference makers, those DNFs, because those really impact those standings with close races, especially when you're dealing with really fast, really consistent drivers.
Yeah, with only 8 points separating them. And I think that DNF it is the one defining factor with them, right? With Limp getting an extra win, having an extra fastest lap, you would think he would have a little bit of a bigger lead, but because of that one single DNF, has actually caused them to be only 8 points.
100% those just play such a large role. Yeah, Mookie says big championship fight. That's about right.
Yes, very close there.
Yeah, I mean, you see a little bit more of a spread in the field when you look at some of the rest of the standings, especially as far as like the constructor goes. Not really much of a race currently for third and a little bit more for fourth, but you can see actually a
huge separation,
potential to jump within those kind of bottom seeds there, 5th through 9th in the constructor. I mean, an individual race could really pump somebody all the way from 9th, jump them all the way up to 5th. It
for sure
really can all just depend on one finish, or even, like we were saying earlier, one DNF can drop you quite far as well. So it'll be interesting to see how these end up turning out, as we go throughout the season here. We can see the same thing in our drivers' standings, besides the top end. And then our third place there, you start to see as we go down the field more of kind of a contention between everyone.
Yeah, it's a huge fight. And we can see that in the constructors as well, where after fourth, there's pretty much every team.
Yeah, certainly.
Battling for...
I have a bit of a feeling a lot of that comes into play with some DNFs and participation and all that sort of stuff. Even just
and that's how
showing up and finishing a race can just mean a lot in terms of your point totals.
So as we wait for the race to start, here, let me bring up some stats here. So we only have one other driver that has been able to get been able to get pole. Do you know which driver that is?
Ooh, I mean, I don't off the top of my head. If I had to guess, I might say Jonas.
It was actually Landon.
Oh,
so Landon is the only other driver besides either Limp or Miller that has gotten a pole position this season in the Champions Division. We have also the fastest laps. We saw most of them were Limp and Miller. So there was actually 2 other drivers who got that one.
Wow.
And that one was actually a driver named Luca, who was able to get one in the rain. And then the other one was Landon.
And I heard you mention the dangerous word there, rain.
Rain. I shouldn't have said rain. I just jinxed these drivers.
There's a whole song about that. Come on.
Yes. So another fun fact is that out of all the races we've done so far in the Champions Division, we've only had 8 different drivers on podium.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really tight grouping
It's
for
a
such a
very tight
large
grouping.
field. I mean, I feel like this season we've seen such a good turnout comparatively that for just 8 to be in those positions, that's some consistent racing, I feel like, from those drivers.
Yes, we've had drivers like Jonas has continually been on it, having 5 podiums to his name. We had Luke get 2, getting 2 third places. And then we just had a few other drivers. So we had Lord taking a 2nd place. We had Landon taking not taking one at all. And then we had Sharp with the podium and Pangil just getting a podium in our last race.
Yeah.
So
I think, a lot of that is just due to seems to be a lot of the contention is for that singular place in each race left, not by Miller or
it tends to be that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Limp, yes.
Miller or Limp, just kind of both filling up some of those positions that would be available to drivers on any unlikely DNFs or any no-shows, but they're showing up and they're finishing. So it looks like we're going to be going in here.
Going in here.
We're going to get to start seeing some racing pretty soon.
Screens here.
It's going to be exciting. Mookie says 5 teams going for P5. Yeah, that's certainly true. Those constructors are looking tight. Ooh, thank you, Sway Watches Mari. Subscribe to Tier 1 for 5 months. Thank you for that.
Thank you for 5 months there.
Broom Broom, followed by Broom Broom. Certainly knows how to get it done here. Okay, so we're going to be going in any second now to some racing. We're going to see some qualifiers here. It'll be interesting to see people's strategies through the qualifiers. If we get weather in the qualifiers, let's knock on some. They hear that, and that's the wood, guys. It's not me.
It's the wood.
Okay. Good luck all. Certainly. Zach Plays Stuff. Subscribe with Prime for 3 months. Currently on a 1-month streak. Congratulations and thank you. We appreciate not only all our watchers, all our subscribers as well. Really appreciate it. You can see exciting qualifying right now. Everyone is exactly tied in the pits. No one's out on the track yet. Hopefully we'll get some laps out there any minute now. Like I was saying earlier, it'll be interesting to see if, some people's strategies here to try and get polling position. If some drivers you see some of them put in a fast time and then they'll kind of like back off a bit. And then if that time starts to get challenged, you might see them come back out. Some people wait towards later on in quali to even get out there and put in a lap. Maybe they're still working with their setup. They're eating their last minute Cheerios. Who knows? They're doing something. You can see you got Galaxy Wavefield out on the track, which we will have out there in just a minute in terms of their driver name. And you can see now some of the rest of the field getting out there on an out lap. Now we have 4 of the 9 people currently in qualies out there. Oh. And it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens as far as, that weather today. I'm still a little hesitant. We'll see. They seem to be a bit of a weather magnet sometimes. We'll see. It knows. And, if there is, you can blame me. I won't knock on wood for that. I don't need to. It'll just be momentary until we have our setup that you're more accustomed to with our displays. And we'll get that going here as everyone's still kind of on an out lap and some people still in the pit. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happens. You can see our driver we're currently looking at, currently out on softs. Feeling we're going to see a lot of that in qualies as they try and look to put in their fastest laps. You see a little bit of maybe a tiny bit of contact with the corner there as they're kind of getting used to the track now that they're in the lobby here. I'd imagine a decent amount of them have put in some practice laps out here in Singapore before this, but who knows? Maybe some of them are just relying on their abilities and confidence to get them through the day. That's what I do sometimes too. Doesn't always work for me, but we try. We can, I'm taking a look right now, I believe, at Miller, who is out there. You can see he's Coming around sector 3, getting ready to start a lap. You should start seeing some times very soon. Oh, yep, he validated that lap as he now starts another. We're gonna start seeing some times, and we can start noticing exactly where people are gonna place start of the main event. Be interesting to see. I'm taking a look at the field right now, and I don't see a limp out there just yet. We'll see how that goes.
He's
We
under
have,
William.
Williams for our, there he is. He is out there. Okay, so we do have our 2 point leaders in terms of the individual standings out there. It looks like we also have both racers, or both of our top teams, and our constructors as well currently out there. Oh, here we go. Looks like we're taking a look now. Somebody on their flying lap. Everyone's out there on softs trying to put in their fastest times, kind of getting used to the track itself. Pretty nice up there right now. Nighttime in our virtual Singapore. Looking pretty sweet. There we go. There's our first time on the board with 141.099. We'll see how that holds up as we get some more finishes in here. Right now, we should have at least a few other people. Oh, and it was overtaken immediately by Alex with a 144.39, and then by Luke with a 137.549.
Not too bad. I think it will keep going down, obviously.
Certainly. You know, we're really looking to see some fast times. I think it's builds my confidence to see so many of our drivers out here and putting in times early. As you can see right there, Limp in a 137.102, just 0.4 of a second edge out Luke. Grab that top polling position at the moment. We will see how this progresses as we go further into qualies here. You know, we still got plenty of time left, almost 13 minutes. And plus, you know, the little bit of edge you get from just being within a valid lap on your 980. So
yeah, we saw Miller, I think, invalidating a lap and then invalidating the next lap. So
yeah,
I think he just went into the pits.
Yeah,
because of it.
Looking
doesn't do a lap at all yet.
Tweak a little something. I have a feeling he'll be back out here in just a little while. If not, he's gonna look to pull what we've seen some racers pull off, in all honesty, in other seasons and in some races as well, just move up the field if for some reason they don't end up getting their time in quality. We've had some racers have a lot of success, in fact, move into polling positions from very far back in the field throughout the entirety of a race. And, you know, Singapore is going to be a bit of a long race. We have a lot of turns. 20, over 20 of them,
23 laps. 23 corners.
23 corners. Sharp corners, I've been told.
Yeah, they're very, I mean, look at them. So we did have Kumar going into third with a 137.88 win. So gets into that P3. When gets an invalid lap there.
Certainly. I bet you is very happy to put in that time before doing that. Always good to see Miller out there again. Looking to put in a lap, not invalidate one. On his out lap right now, so we've got a bit of a loop of practice here before putting in a lap and get him time on the board. You know, it's been a few minutes. You still see Limp's time holding at that first position with a 137.102. It'll be interesting to see too as we progress. You know, they're all out there on softs, so the tires are going to be warming up. Their brains and their reflexes are going to be warming up to the track in general as well. And we'll probably end up seeing some movement in the field. I don't imagine that this will be the final standing of exactly how the start of the race is going to turn out. Ooh, and I can now see 1% on that humidity, 1% chance of rain here.
Yeah, I like that.
See some beautifully warm temperatures. It is night. Am I mistaken? It's nighttime.
Definitely night.
Is it 84 degrees?
It is 84 degrees.
29 Celsius at night.
At night, yeah. Ooh. It's probably very humid as well, seeing as we
I mean, I feel like I can see the humidity in here. be interesting. Okay, so now we're taking a look at Miller, no longer on his outlap, looking to put in time. Let's see what he can do. I would imagine we're going to have a few other racers here put in some times soon. It looks like Luke is the next closest person who's going to put in a time. I'm not sure if his lap is valid at the moment or not. We shall see very shortly. It looks like he actually is. So, not this time. Next time, maybe. In fact, actually, we're taking a look currently at the only racer who is not correct. Am I correct in saying that?
No.
No, not at all?
No.
That's just who we're looking
at.
at.
Yeah, just with silver dots.
I'm crazy. Don't listen to me.
But we're here with Miller doing his lap. He's going to need to do a good lap here. Oh. Gets a purple second sector, so if we go back to the timing window, he actually has the fastest both sector 1 and 2, so as long as he keeps this lap valid, he should be able to get this provisional pole.
Yeah, certainly. I'm really interested to see where this comes in, because he's looking really fast out there so far, and I want to see how much of a gap, if this finishes valid, how much of a gap it'll put between him and those top 3 seeds here. Okay, so we have not quite a full second faster, but still very fast, 136.511. I think this is going to be a really interesting race. What I'm most curious to see is how some of the quickness of these times hold up when the entire field is out there at once and you have to worry about what your other racers are doing. Because these turns, man, I feel like we're going to need to see some caution in some of these turns.
I hope some of these drivers choose the right times to try to pass, because there's definitely some corners that if you try to pass there and the other driver doesn't give you enough room, you guys both crashing. Like, you're just going to end up having, it's going to mess up both your races. Oh! Oh, and he was doing a good lap right there.
He was.
He's even with that spin, he gets P5.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I wouldn't expect that to hold. They most likely will still want to go.
That really is a shame.
Faster.
I mean, you definitely would have seen second pole, like a second place pole right there, possibly challenging Miller for that 136.511 had the urge to pull a 360 not hit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that.
We have here Limp again doing a...
and look at this. It's contagious. Except he only got halfway. It was 180.
He's driving backwards now.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe...
That's one way to get through the hairpin.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one way.
Just do a 3-point turn through the hairpin. I mean, that's what they teach you when you learn to drive, right?
Yeah, that's totally how that was taught to take a... take a sharp corner.
Yeah.
Go in backwards and then just go back into drive again.
That's fine. I mean, that's what Vin Diesel does in movies, right? It's actually required watching for all F1 drivers, the full Fast and Furious series.
Yeah.
That's why you see improvements every year, because they release a new movie.
It's why they only go straight in that, right?
Yeah. Except when they're Tokyo drifting.
The one time.
Yeah. They covered that. They don't have to do it anymore. Right now we're watching
corners in one.
Yeah. Now we're watching Finn coming, finishing up sector 2. You see a real sharp turn there coming.
Doing personal best.
Yeah, personal best. Looking good out there. We'll see where this manages to land them in terms of the standings for qualies here.
This track, I am surprised it does not have more names. There's literally Republic Boulevard.
Yeah.
Raffles Boulevard, St. Andrews Road, and Anderson's Bridge, and that's it. Out of 23 corners.
Well, I mean, I don't think you really have to worry about that. I mean, I can name the rest of them. First, we got Kevin, Thomas, I think that looks like Shelby. That's certainly a Winston.
Nobody knows what you're pointing at.
That's fine.
It doesn't matter.
I think they can understand the tone of voice, the inflection. They get exactly which corner I'm pointing at.
Okay.
Right now, we're looking at Finn. You can see Zach retired after putting his 1:41.2. I think they'll certainly be looking to do exactly what we were saying earlier and kind of climb that field as they start the main event. But right now, we're looking at Finn. Didn't manage to put in a lap the last time. Be looking to put in one this time, though. Certainly. Still looking quick as they come around into sector 2. Getting towards where we first picked them up just a few moments ago.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this time they manage to get their quality time on the board, see where that falls. We have a lot of contention here in these
Definitely.
upper 130s, low 140s. I'm honestly used to seeing a little bit more of a spread during quali on these times. Do you think maybe that's because everyone is finding a good rhythm in between their speed and also making sure they're kind of playing it safe with some of these turns? A little bit less gambling leads to a little bit more consistency throughout the pack.
I think we might see a bigger, some of these guys are going to be, now that they've put a established lap in,
They're going to be
push,
now.
And it might end up being even greater. And we see
see
right there, Finn unable to do his, gets it invalid, and now is back to...
That's a shame, right at the end of that lap there.
A non-lap.
Yeah.
So we're going to be here with Luke. He's going to be starting his lap. And I think this will be pretty much his last lap. I don't think he'll be able to do a lap and then come in. So this is his final lap. We'll be looking to improve. Hopefully even maybe jump the Ferrari, because every point counts right now. And
it doesn't have
if you can jump
much of an improvement.
Yeah, and if you can jump your rivals,
certainly
into the start.
Yeah, look to put them in their place.
It'll really benefit them. So.
Just look them right in the eye and be like, you know what?
Look them right in the eye.
I could be up there too. So right now, we're taking a look at him as he comes around into sector 2 as well. We really like this sector when we're watching him coming right through here.
I mean, we've been watching.
Or at least when I pointed out.
We've been watching them the whole time.
We have, but maybe
Sector 2 is definitely very technical. There's a hard right, a hard left, into this weird tight section that enters into Anderson's Bridge, which is really skinny into the hairpin.
I think Zach retired, and he's in our chat right now saying that his tire barely tapped the wall. I think that's why you see him
barely tapped.
Some damage maybe.
Barely tapped means he probably hit it hard, and his adrenaline was rushing and didn't even realize how hard it was.
But you can barely tap something in the area. They're going fast enough. That makes a difference. We'll see if anyone repeats that. Hopefully nobody does during the main event here, as we will look to start that in just a few minutes here.
And
150 left in quality.
Luke does improve, but just barely misses it.
So
doing a
close.
137.235. So just
he made up over half the difference, but not quite enough to move in front of Limp. We'll see if that changes. They're going to be looking to put in one more lap here. You see Limp on an out lap, and I believe, Limp should be able to pull through that finish line with enough time to start another lap to get in one last attempt.
We should go to
overtake.
I think Landon's just about to pass the line and should be able to do...
Yep.
Yes.
Up all the way to second. Just 2/10 away from overtaking in that first position there. But this is good. I like seeing some positions going into the race that don't match the current driver point standings exactly. That's what we want to see, some variation in the field, because we want some competition out here. Exciting.
And we have a McLaren sandwich right now with Luke not being able to get that jump, and then the Landon and the Ferrari jumping it. I think we're going to be... It's going to be a show. They're going to put on the show today.
Hope so.
Between these two teams.
Certainly. And then there'll be some other drivers out there looking for a bit of an upset, too, to upset that show.
Definitely. We don't have Jonas in this race.
Yeah,
and he's pretty much always filled that extra gap that we expected from when Miller and Limp have been getting 1 and 2s.
Yeah, you're going to have some other drivers looking to slip right into that sandwich. Sometimes you just need another ingredient in there.
Yeah, and right now it looks like Landon's trying to spoil the fun, right? He's up there in front of his teammate who's winning the championship right now.
Certainly.
Is in the lead.
We'll see how that plays out. Beginning of the main event. Still have about 3 minutes to go in Hawaii.
Well, now it's
this is their
this is definitely the countdown. So everybody who's passed the checker can do a lap.
We only have a few people still out there. As soon as they invalidate that, if any of them invalidate a lap 2, they'll be out of contention for putting in a time through the rest of quali here. There's only a few more people out there, you know. I would say maybe about a minute left in quali as long as everyone continues to be able to put in a time.
It sounds like Sway has probably invalidated his lap, and it's probably somewhere that he didn't expect that.
Yes, certainly.
Probably could have done a better lap. We do have here Limp doing about half a second faster than his time, which means he puts him right there.
Certainly does.
With Miller, is he going to be able to steal it and get another pole on top of his 5 that he already has this season?
I mean, he's certainly going to be looking to do that.
He comes across the line. Doesn't take it. I thought he took it. I'm pretty sure he took it and this didn't collect it.
Maybe it just didn't update. Yeah. We will see.
And he did take it. He did take it.
He did take it.
Wow. Man. That's a 136.353 to take the pole yet again.
The last second.
From Miller at the last second.
Yep.
Getting him by 0.158 of a second.
Yep. Miller commenting in the chat that he should have gone out again.
He should have gone out again. Should have gone out again.
That's the way everything turns out. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh, man.
We'll be looking to start any second now. See the countdown on the clock. The 2 and 1.
What a lap.
Going into our main event here. See it loading up. Let's see all our drivers coming in.
So we have a Ferrari, McLaren.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Less of a sandwich.
Yeah.
Certainly more of a.
It's 2 lines now because they're gonna be their teammates are right behind each other.
Sometimes you put some of the filling on top of the bread. You know, you're doing like a.
Top of the bread.
You know, McDonald's did that with their whole bun in the middle type thing. You know, that's what they're. I think that's what.
It never needed that.
It probably doesn't, honestly.
It doesn't at all.
Yeah, but you know what does? This race.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to be seeing here in just a minute.
See, but we didn't get that extra piece, you know? We didn't get like a Jonas.
Or, how do you know that one of those other drivers aren't the extra piece?
Well, maybe the race start, they have a really good start and gets between them.
Yeah.
Any of the non-contending top drive teams, if they can get in the mix of it,
certainly
it could ruin one of the constructors' chances easily.
Yeah. I mean, it could really vault any team up there. You saw a lot of that very close contention outside of that top 3 to 4 in both the individual and in the constructors, you know. Yeah. And with, like you said, some drivers not here today, I think you're really going to see some of those point totals change up a little bit.
Definitely.
As well as a continuation here with both of those top contenders for their kind of individual and constructors. They're all here. So we'll see how that plays out as well.
I think the
storylines here.
I think the importance of this race start is very high.
You know, I see a lot of squiggles on our formation lap. You know what I don't normally see? Somebody turn around and go the other way.
Maybe you forgot. This is a counterclock style track. So maybe he thought we were supposed to be going clockwise. So.
Yeah, you know,
just trying to go clockwise.
It's not everyone. It's everyone else who's wrong. Not me.
It must be them. No, it's not because of me.
Yeah,
I'm not the reason that it's wrong.
Well, I mean, I'm already happy because we're getting an excess of the wiggles here. Those little squiggly wiggles, and those are my favorite, as you know.
So everybody in the top 7 chose to go onto the hard complex. Yeah. And we saw in the last race, I saw in the last race, that the hards into the mediums was a very good decision. on this track. But we do have the two Alfa Romeos both deciding to go onto the leaders.
Certainly. I mean,
Sunby and Zach
I think
looking to maybe make a few positions.
exactly. I think that's what they're thinking. You know, tire strategy is one thing, but when your tire strategy has to account for making up 9 positions or 8 positions, you start to maybe play a little risky with it, or, you know, just maybe more aggressive. We'll be looking to get this underway. As you see, we got a longer formation lap here than normal because, well, you know, the laps are a little bit long. Just over 5 kilometers on this track here. Well, 23 of these turns,
long.
Slowing down those 5 kilometers at the same time as well.
It's definitely going to be a long race. This is one of those tracks where the per lap and to get that distance, it just ends up being really long. We'll get close to the time marker, but like we shouldn't exceed it.
So we see our top 2 pulling in to their position.
So they give us about 2 hours to complete, but it'll be about an hour.
Yeah, certainly. Maybe they've all made a pact and they're all gonna go half speed. Just so it takes 2 hours. We'll see. I doubt it, but maybe. It's not April 1st, so
it's not April 1st. Yes, so I'm hoping we have a really good start here. We can see there Miller already choosing the direction he wants to go to.
Yeah, I mean,
we are taking a immediate left though. So
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that that's actually his layout and not just a visual thing on our end. Like you see some movement there in that other lane.
He's definitely
definitely kind of
5 lights
angled.
Long and it's Alf. And he goes right towards him. He wants to get onto that racing line as soon as possible.
Certainly.
We see there Luke with a really good start, gets in front of his teammate there.
Ooh,
and actually Landon there trying to attack Luke. We have a 3 wide here going in through the straights of Republic Boulevard.
Look so far.
It looks like Luke holds it. Luke holds that position. We have Finn trying to warm up his tires. I guess his tires weren't warmed yet. We have Landon here on the attack from the outside. Oh, he doesn't leave him enough room though. He has to go really wide. His teammate now. Can we get? Okay, they take the smart route. He backs out, and we have the 2 Ferraris now taking 1 and 2 for now.
Certainly, Landon kind of holding off some people, and you're seeing them make a bit of a. Oh, and we got to move right there. Luke just goes right around Landon.
So that looked like the game told him to give it back. It's definitely a game like telling him to legal overtake. But he's looking on the inside for that. We do not have the DRS yet. It will come in on lap 3.
Certainly.
And then they will be able to use that. We have 3 DRS zones on this track. We have one on the front straight, on Raffles Boulevard, which is between 5 and 7. And then we have one between 13 and 14 is the DRS zone.
Yeah, it looks like the only racer, Zach had a little bit of a trouble at the start, as you can see, got 13.6 second gap between them and their teammate for those 8 and 9 positions. However, like we were saying earlier, they are on mediums, so that should benefit Zach.
Oh, and we have Miller spinning here. This is crucial.
Certainly. Ooh.
With that spin, I wonder if something happened there.
Yeah, looks like he's getting back out. Okay, movement now.
And it looks like Finn there is in 5th. I don't know if he was already there or not. But we have a few of the drivers. We have Miller. That's not good. That's not good for the championship. That's for sure.
I mean, though, like we were saying earlier,
there's a lot of race still.
A lot of race left. But and if there's one thing I've seen Miller do a lot of, it's when they get a little bit back, they certainly know how to move up a field. So we'll see if that plays into it. But that is going to be tough. Talk about starting a race in which you're normally 1-2, fighting for the top seed in a bit of a disadvantage, down 6 positions.
He is a driver that's good at taking lemons and making lemonade.
Yeah, certainly. He just needs himself a little sugar, and it's all good. Don't we all?
We do have Landon on the back of Luke, so we'll try to keep an eye on that. Here, I'll put my finger on that just to see if we need to jump up really quickly. But we do have this fight in the back with Finn, Alex, and Sunbee.
Certainly, we even have a fight at 2-3 right now. You can see Lannon is
right on the back of
on
him.
the back
Yeah,
of
we'll
Luke.
keep an eye on it. With DRS, it's gonna get active soon, and then I think that's when Lannon will be able to try to attack. And I think that's what some of these back markers are doing as well. They can't really get in front of each other right now.
Certainly. And the other thing to keep an eye on here at the start of the race and as we progress in laps also is Limp likes to get ahead, and sometimes you will see Limp slowly just consistently put in good times enough to separate themselves from the rest of the field.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at that as well.
DRS has now been enabled. We have here Lannon, I think closest as he's been this whole time, and we have Miller doing the fastest lap of 1:42.1.
And you'll certainly see that do some things for you if you're towards the back of the pack. Consistently put in fastest laps, and you will eventually no longer be at
So
the
we
back
have
of the pack.
Lannon here on the outside going through this turn, and he's not going to be able to do it yet. Ooh, just Luke.
So close.
They have such similar pace that it's just not enough.
Yeah, and I feel like, you really don't want to do too aggressive of passing in these turns early, because
Definitely.
causing something can really wreak havoc with where you are in the field, as we've already seen once so far with some other stuff that's went wrong. With Miller, very close. It'll be interesting, now that DRS is enabled to see exactly how that kind of plays into their ability to kind of move in front on some of these more pass-friendly areas of the track.
Definitely with the DRS, Lannon now I think just has to choose the right moment to try to go and attack him. It's definitely not an easy track to pass, but there is some decent opportunities with the DRS zones.
Certainly.
I think it gives you a chance through like first corner. You can try to do it on turn 7 and obviously 14. All of the DRS endings.
Yeah, and I think another thing to really pay attention to as well is just, like we were saying earlier, the difference in the time. Now that there's people to be in your way, the times are certainly dropping. You can see our fastest lap again by Miller, looking to move up. Miller's actually moved up almost 5 seconds since his last fastest lap towards that 7th position. So I think really soon you're going to see a lot of passing, or looking to pass, now that Miller is much closer kind of to the rest of the pack. But like I was saying earlier, we saw in quali, what was it, the 136s?
Yeah.
136s. Now we're seeing fastest laps at 141s, 142s. Definitely some of that contention in the field with other people being out there physically in cars to get in your way is playing into some of that pace.
Definitely. Oh, it looks like he's right on the back of him. This might be the chance that he was looking for here. And we have Zach retiring. Is this going to trigger a safety car? And he triggers a full.
Ooh.
This is really good for Miller here.
Yes.
With that huge mistake that he had. Now he's going to have a chance to get back into the race. He'll still have to pass all the cars. But
you can see
it does bring that gap from Limp down.
It means
significant.
It means a lot to Miller. In all honesty, it means a lot to everybody outside of those top 3 positions.
Yeah.
I mean, and even probably, in all honesty, means a bit to Luke, as we saw Limp manage to increase his lead all the way to 3 seconds before that.
So here's the thing I'm looking at. With this safety car, does Miller just come in and go onto softs? He will have to, or even and Limp reacts to this and goes in
to the pit.
He's trying to cover it. Yeah, because I was like, Miller could go in and grab mediums and then go in again and hit again for mediums again.
Yeah.
But because he goes in, he covers that. But since none of the other drivers went in, he's not going to get the benefit.
Yeah, you see Miller.
Like, Miller was already back there in A, so it didn't matter if he pit or not. And he does come in. He puts on the sauce, like I said, but I don't think he expected Limp to go onto the mediums. Limp will not be able to get to the end on those mediums.
Yes.
So maybe Limp's going to go a medium into a soft, where Miller was thinking originally that Limp was going to stay out, and that's why he was originally going to put on the softs.
On those hards, yeah.
But now that he has these softs on, This might have been the best strategy for Limp unless he gets past. So that's the thing is now that they're together, this is really good for Miller because he can try to pass them and then make a gap.
Certainly.
And then they're playing the whole when he pits on his mediums and goes onto another medium or soft, he can go onto the mediums and we have this fight.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what happens, but they're both going to be looking to pit again.
Another person
for
who
sure.
this has really helped out too out there is Sunby. Now with the ability to take where they were in 8th and bring them
except
all
for
the way
that,
up to 5th.
he just collided into.
Oh no. Yeah, that's
Alex.
not great.
Or into Finn. That's a weird one. That's just a lack of concentration right there.
Yeah. We gotta be careful.
But with it looks like Miller coming onto the back of this, I don't think they're gonna call this car in on this lap.
I don't believe he's close enough yet.
Because he was so far back, I don't think they're gonna.
We'll see.
We'll see. They might do a late call, but most likely it's just gonna stay out there again.
Yeah. I mean, this is a long race, but you're seeing it shortened in terms of the amount of time where racers are vying for contention of placing, out on there because now we have a few laps with a safety car. It also kind of, it keeps where
All right,
they are.
looks like Sunby comes in.
Oh yeah.
So the thing is I believe that's a servable penalty, right? And he should be able to serve it here. So we'll see if they let him serve it, but he should be able to serve it here, which will get rid of it. He did have to take his pit. He's going back onto mediums. So instead of going onto hards and trying to go to the end, he's going on mediums, which means he will pit again in this race because he has to. Under the rules, you have to pit for a different set of slick compounds. So we have the soft, medium, and hard. He went from medium to medium, which means he will have to come in again.
Certainly, and I think it'll be interesting. I think it really tells you kind of too where his head's at in terms of needing, feeling the need for those mediums in order to move up the back here.
Yeah.
Rather than just going onto the hard and then finishing out the race.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. I wonder if Luke here is trying to slow down the pack so that when they cross that that line, so for sector 3 line,
yes,
that Sunby gets on the back, because I think they all really hope Sunby gets on the back of this so they can start the race again, because this is a very long race regardless of a safety car. Now that we have a safety car, it actually did extend it, and any drivers that was foolish enough to put underfuel their cars, now they're not looking dumb, they're looking smart.
Yeah.
This isn't a track you really want to do that because it uses up a lot of fuel. It's a high fuel usage track.
The closer you were to towing that line of uncomfortableness, now you are sitting a lot more comfortable and feeling a lot more confident.
Yeah, sadly, it looks like we might be going under another one, but we'll wait it out.
Yeah,
If we do go on another lap, I'll probably just drop a... Okay, it is coming in. See, that's what I expected. Because this track is so long, like, you can easily call the safety car in. So I think a lot of these drivers kind of knew that. I will be expecting the two drivers in the back, Limp and Miller, with their softer compounds, their new softer compounds. We'll be expecting them to push pretty hard and maybe even getting a few passes here, even with there being no DRS until the second lap. So after a safety car, it activates again after 2 laps.
And Sunby, we'll certainly see what happens with Sunby, but I'll be looking to. Oh man!
And we have a crash there from Alex and Finn. I wonder if they actually crashed together or if it was they did it themselves. I don't know. All I could see was it from far away, from that far view.
Certainly.
But with that, we see here Miller on the back of Limp. He's going to be looking to try to pass him as soon as he can.
Yeah.
Being on that faster tire compound.
I mean, hopefully damage is minimized from that for them too, because now that they're pretty far, not super far back, but definitely further back and on hards compared to especially the 3 nearest drivers to them, that's going to be
All right, I just wanted to check this.
Certainly.
It looks like here, Limp is actually going to be going for this pass here. Nope, he backs out. That was smart. Because that was not a good corner to try to do it on.
Yes.
I'll try to keep an eye on the 1 and 2. But it looks like he actually goes wide there. Oh, and it looks like Miller's trying to get a 2 pass. He likes to do that. 2-for-1 special.
Certainly.
It's his little specialty. He wants the inside. He's telling him, I have the inside here. He takes it. He gives him just enough room. But it looks like Limp is still holding it.
Yeah.
And he holds that position there.
It's going to be hard to do going forward with Miller on those softs.
And somehow I missed what happened to Lannon, because Lannon now is in 6th. With all that fighting, we must have missed him go off somewhere.
Drop back a little bit, but also I think, Sunbee really taking advantage of those mediums as well. You can see coming up a little bit on Kumar there. Looking to move up on those mediums. Race control.
Miller takes a 3-second penalty already in this race, only on lap 8.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes.
So if we go to the timing table, okay, so it looks like a lot of these drivers already have a lot of warnings. So this might just be part of it. It's minimizing your track extensions kind of track.
Certainly.
I wouldn't be surprised if getting a 6-second penalty will not matter near the end of this race.
Yeah, it's very likely that people will build up a very
and we have here in the back, looks like Landon now on the attack.
Yeah, certainly
on
right.
Sunbee. After having that incident, I wonder what happened with him. Doesn't look like he has any wing damage, but sometimes the game, when you get wing damage, it shows it and then it removes it for some reason.
Certainly. And Landon has been very consistent so far.
Okay, he wants to take the inside here. Oh, and it just barely gets it off. It looks like he almost squeezed him. It might have taken damage there for both of these drivers.
Certainly.
But we do have Miller here right on the back now. We'll go back up to the 1 and 2 in the constructors, but there are 2 and 3 in this race.
Certainly. And I mean, we'll see how this ends up playing out.
Definitely.
Right now, what we had in the beginning of the race in terms of seating for everyone, the sandwich is swapping ingredients right now. Kumar has managed to slip in, be that bun. We'll see what happens as we continue throughout this race here. All of our drivers, you see a little bit more separation now between 4 and 5, with Lannon being about 2 seconds behind Kumar. Both of them are on hard, so neither has really the advantage for their tires there. But Miller, very close looking.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually closer. Oh, and he is. He's attacking here.
There he goes.
Onto Limp.
And manages to pull it off.
Yeah, he gets the pass off. And I wonder if they're going to play the team game here. Oh, but he leaves the door wide too open. And Limp actually follows him through.
And now Limp is looking to pass.
Wow.
Oh, and maintain first.
He actually he had to have pumped a lot of electricity through there. We're talking about the ERS there.
Yeah.
Because, wow.
That was impressive.
That was a huge error there. But it looks like Miller should be able to get it back here with having DRS through this corner. But no, it looks like Limp is still fighting it. Oh, that was a really good... You could see that Limp his car slid a bit.
Yeah, a lot of really good driving here by some drivers, and then certainly... Oh, no.
That was a little... We're going to have to check his pants after that one.
Certainly. Got a bit squirrely there on the back end.
That's a pants check right there.
Yes. If you do that, you always want to do that before the race, not or at least during quality. Get enough time and enough towels, it'll be fine. So you can see now a little bit more separation between Limp Miller and Luke.
It's definitely the different type.
Lannon looking to make a move right now. We're watching on Kumar. Managed to take that 2 seconds all the way down to 0.2. Not bad.
He's here, right on the back of him.
Certainly looking to make his move.
Goes on the inside here.
He goes.
This has
And
been a
there he
really good.
goes.
Oh, and it looked like Kumar almost lost it through that corner.
He did almost lose it. I didn't see contact.
There was not contact,
Yes.
but I think he definitely.
Yeah. Little front square.
I think he just got a little too far on the outside there too.
Certainly.
But he did catch it, so it was okay.
You know, right now we're looking inside, seeing the view of Limp. You'll see as he
It's kind of an
stares
odd
at
camera.
his competitor.
It's like on the edge of the thing, but then it's looking that way.
That's like, you know, if you're sitting in the car but you only had one eye and your head tilted a little bit to the side, you know?
A little,
Like a lazy neck.
a little angle too.
You know?
Oh, and there we go. Now they're even Steven.
That they are with those penalties, kind of like we were predicting earlier. Kind of
So
getting out. as
this is what
penalties
Miller needs to
roll
do
up.
though, because he chose to go into these softs.
Certainly.
It means he needs to create a gap.
Yeah.
Because I think he's gonna have to pit before
But
Lamp for sure.
He's gonna have to pit before, but they both will probably have to pit one more time.
Miller goes
And
fastest 140.
Speaking of creating gaps,
106.
yeah, 140.1.
And this is probably why we saw Limp get a track extension warning, because he's trying to keep up.
Certainly.
He wants to keep that DRS because it's very strong here on this track. You can stay with the driver for a lot longer than you would expect.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how everything turns out as they continue moving. You see a lot more separation now between Limp and Luke, as you could see a 5-second. Oh, and a yellow flag.
And we had Finn retire in the pits. Must have been a mechanical failure.
Certainly.
And like that, we have just 7 drivers.
Well, I mean, I think that's certainly unfortunate for those drivers. You know, not a lot of people out on the course. You're only seeing 7 drivers right now. So I think it's going to lead to slightly faster times, especially, you know, where you see a lot of space. You know, right now, Alex looking to make up a lot of ground. We haven't talked a lot about Alex yet, but we certainly are now. You can see him out there, 16.5 seconds gap between them and Sunby. On hards to mediums, that's going to be a bit harder to make up that ground too.
Definitely.
Unless
and Sunby can go onto mediums again too.
Certainly.
Oh no, he cannot.
No, he cannot.
He cannot. He's already done that twice.
Yeah, but he can
Yes.
go on to softs
softs.
if those mediums last long.
Those mediums should
That-
be able to last to get to sauce. As we can
Yes.
see Miller here. Miller will be our test, right?
If
to
we're
see how
gonna-
long those will last.
If we're gonna push, those softs exactly. Like this track is a little bit different, I feel like, so maybe you'll see those softs
Definitely.
extended for a few less laps than you normally would.
But here's the thing with Landon making that mistake, he's actually caught back up to Luke, and then this is the battle right now for P3.
Yeah,
Pretty much, with Landon hasn't been able to get one yet all season, and then Luke has gotten just 2. So we'll see if they'll be able to do it. Maybe even get it more. Never know. When maybe the top drivers, something happens to one of them.
certainly. And I don't believe either Landon nor Luke or Kumar in 5th has pit yet.
They have not pit. They're going to be going from. They're most likely doing a hard into medium strat.
Which is
We will be expecting them to pit soon. I would expect around 15. So 14, 15, 16 will be around where we would expect these hards to go in. You can extend them a little bit longer, but I think you start losing. You start sacrificing pace.
well, and there's no
instead.
need to extend your hards longer if throughout the entirety of the rest of the race a faster tire is
A
going
medium
to
is gonna-
last.
And a medium will last from 15
15
for sure.
15,
Even
30.
14 for it will make it to the end.
Certainly. And then, you know, hopefully not, but barring any other safety cars, it would also leave you then room to switch off the softs if you know, really wanted to towards the end when you were sure that those were also going to
Yeah.
hold up.
But because there was that safety car, right?
Mhm.
These 11 laps are actually around 8 laps old in reality.
Exactly.
So
swear.
extending these out, you could do that with pace. You can maybe think about even going onto a soft. As we see, Miller has done 8 laps on these softs, but like we said, some of it was under safety car. So you do have to bear that in mind. But you can kind of treat that as the same, right? So how many laps Miller can do on these softs, you could say, oh, I can do that same amount, because now you have as the race goes on, you burn fuel, your car gets significantly lighter.
Yeah, less wear on.
So the deg on the tires are going to be less. So whatever he can do, you should be able to do as well.
There you go. You saw Landon make their move on Luke coming around.
Luke is here trying to. No, he cannot fight back.
Nope,
though.
Can't fight back. Coming through.
And yet again,
Sector 2.
Yeah, Sector 2. Yet again, we have a pass through Raffles Boulevard again. So it's a very good. It's a very good passing zone as we've seen. We do have. It looks like Limp has been able to get back into the DRS of Miller, which is an interesting thing.
And Limp now, he was above a second, and he is really making up ground.
Let's go back up here. It looked like he got it all the way down to half a second almost. Not sure. Oh,
right on him.
He has really used his battery. I wonder if Miller made a mistake by not pushing his battery out, but because now he has him right on the back of him, and this might not be good for Miller, because Miller now is going to be sharing the pace with him. Oh, and Miller actually just goes in already. He's going in early. He is going to be going 2 mediums now, and with that, that's interesting because I think Miller had a bunch of battery still on him, and we see there Luke taking a penalty. Let's see how far down Miller drops. It looks like he's actually going to lose his position to Kumar as well. So we will have to repass him. Unless, Kumar ends up pitting before that.
Certainly. But I mean, I don't think Miller's too worried about the rest of the field right now because everyone above him has to pit and is going to pit sometime relatively soon, most likely.
Yeah, I think this could be a good strategy on Miller where he's trying to... He wants to push hard to where Limp either has to choose to pit again and then he'll still be stuck behind him.
Yep.
Or he can push really hard to where when Limp does pit, he ends up not even in his DRS.
Yeah, significantly better positioned. Actually, I think that was a pretty smart move by Miller too, because now he can use this 8-second gap between him and Kumar to make up a lot of kind of free ground that wasn't there when he was in contention with Limp.
Definitely. We do have Luke doing a really good job with trying to keep up with Landon, because I think this battle for this backpack, these two matter a lot.
Yeah.
One for themselves, and then 2 for the constructors, depending on where they lie, and also where Limp and Miller end up, could make a huge difference. We saw that Landon has the pace to keep up with Limp as well.
Certainly.
And Luke still showed a really good time to where, as long as he has good race pace, he can easily. And yeah, he goes in.
Limp, go right into the pits.
Goes in for
and
a new
goes out
pair
on
of
those mediums, just like we were talking about. I think you're going to see that'd be a pretty consistent strategy for all of the other racers who end up pitting here in these next few laps, I think.
And we have Miller here coming out, and it does look like he's still going to stay in front of him.
Oh, not quite.
No, he does. He comes out right in front of him.
Oh, yes, Miller stays in front of Limp.
And he even has that DRS gap still.
Certainly. Which we expected, and I think because you saw that too, at that one position go in and with Miller, one position then go in Limp, come out with Miller ahead of Limp again, you're going to see that kind of play out throughout the rest of that field as soon as your 1, 2, and 3 here pit as well. I still find it odd that Miller allowed Limp to get into his DRS, because he did help him through that front straight when it seemed weird that he didn't push a little bit harder in that in-lap. I mean,
maybe
like
the
you were
tires
saying
were
earlier, there might have been something a little funky going on there with the car.
Luke here, right on the back of him, actually.
Yeah.
It's a resurgence from Luke, and is right back on him. And these two, I don't know. So there's this weird thing where both of these drivers have a chance for winning this race.
Certainly.
But are they going to end up fighting too much to where they end up not being in that fight? And that might be the case here, because Luke doesn't care if he beats his teammate, obviously, because he's shown it in other races where he's always let his teammate get through. But Landon, on the other hand, is a fighting driver, so he doesn't want to give that up. So it's one of those weird things where now that he has him behind him, do they fight?
Certainly. And you can see Miller putting another fastest lap in at a 139.4, which is not only impressive as it's the fastest lap, but it's impressive because it just did it on fairly relatively new mediums compared to the softs.
It's kind of where you want to, and maybe he didn't enjoy those softs.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he did.
But I think that's
he did have good pace on it, and it worked to get through the field. So
yeah, it worked to get through the field.
strategy.
I think that's also why you saw a lot of the strategy coming into the race, kind of parroting the strategy that had worked in the past of those hards on the mediums, because the softs just didn't work out quite as well for a lot of people. And I think that's what you're seeing. Miller immediately putting in a faster lap on mediums than he could on softs, even though they're still relatively new and got plenty of chances to do it on those softs.
He is benefiting from a lot less fuel in his car now.
Certainly.
So that's a big play. And also, he was working through the field, right, when he had those new softs. So
that's true.
I think he can still do faster time on softs.
Oh, certainly. Yeah.
He's definitely benefiting more from that. And we can see here now, I am watching the wrong spot, or am I not? I'm confused. I swear I saw Limp and Miller swapping positions, but they have a huge gap on each other, so I don't know what I just saw.
Sometimes many things that aren't there.
No, I mean, they are. I'm going to see it back later, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. But we do have Luke here still fighting with Landon. He's not quite fighting, actually, though. He's just staying on the back of him. And we see here Miller now right on the back of his teammate. Will most likely pass him through Raffles. That's like the best spot to pass your teammate. So we have here Republic Boulevard into Raffles. It seemed to be our best corner into getting a pass off. And to let your teammate through, it's obviously going to be
for those of you at home paying attention, that's before Tom, but after Shelby.
No, and actually, he's actually going for an attack. He doesn't want to give up that position yet. He wants to actually attack here.
Oh no.
Ooh, I wonder Landon might be.
There was
definitely some touching.
Yeah.
That could be a question there.
Funky business.
And we were definitely not in the best view, and that was partially my fault, but also just bad camera angle.
Yeah.
A little bit of me and a little bit of the camera angle.
It did occur right during a switch of the camera, which is a shame, as the camera in track mode kind of switched between its different views, and you kind of ended up seeing a little bit of that aftermath rather than the main event. The issue.
Yeah, but I think the best bet for Landon here now is just to keep his head down.
Certainly.
Get to the end of the race. Try to push as hard as he can, because what he can do, he can easily petition at the end of the race.
Look at that delta between Luke and Miller and watch it grow. It's constantly growing.
Yes,
he is fast.
He's defending it. He's not.
He is.
Luke is definitely not driving fast right now.
Not gonna be happy about that. Oh man.
Yes. Miller 3-second gap now
Luke
from
is defending well, and Miller.
Yeah, Luke is doing a good job, and he's even gonna protect it. See, like he's gonna protect the inside.
Oh man.
Oh, but he's gonna have to concede it now. He did hold that for a really long time.
Long time.
Like we said,
look at this.
That gap, all the way up to a 3.5 second gap.
Oh man, and I think you're gonna look to see Luke now that that's no longer in the case. I think Luke's gonna look to come in soon.
Yeah. Oh, he's even fighting it. I think he's using his battery. He is 100% using his battery to help his teammate here, and this has extended. But he's got to be careful. If he goes too slow, he's gonna get undercut by Landon later in the race. Because Landon did pit. All right, it does look like he's still giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
Limp isn't getting to do a lot of optimal cornering.
And it's paying off for Miller and Luke.
5 seconds now. All the way up to 5 seconds from this.
And it's continuing to grow. Almost 6 now. Yeah, this is a big...
Oh, and he covers the inside, so it's going to be... He actually might...
Just continue.
He is draining his battery. If he had battery, he no longer has battery.
I think he's going to come in.
He still has battery, too. He's not even blinking. And they're still fighting it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, the teamwork here. And it looks like Limp still gets it through there. But he's done the damage. Luke has done the damage he needed to do.
I just feel like you're going to see Luke come in here this lap now that kind of all that is maybe a little bit more.
He gave him 5 seconds.
Look at this. It's still climbing because of where that pace was too. And there you go. You see Luke come in on those hards. Almost certainly going to be
full 5. He still doesn't. He's not even drained.
That's crazy. I mean, I do think maybe you saw. Did you see some DRS in there activated when there was a few multiple?
I mean, there was a few.
So maybe he was able to utilize.
But he was using ERS and DRS, and he was using it really well. Puts it all the way to 9.
In my opinion, that was some of the most impressive defensive driving from a team standpoint I've seen in a while.
And I do appreciate Limp. I know he was frustrated.
Yeah.
But he didn't overextend any of the times. He didn't cause it. But this is what I was talking about. He was slowing down so much. I was like, there's no way Landon doesn't get through.
Yeah.
And it did. So he did sacrifice his race for his teammate.
Yeah.
But that is all important. Like that's so much. With the 8-point gap between the two drivers.
It really is. The gap
makes a big difference.
2 point difference is much bigger than the gap between 3 and 4. So, them going Miller.
Yeah. You get 25 for first, you get 18 for second.
Yeah, that 7-point drop is a lot larger than the drop.
And then fastest lap with Miller, that puts them even going into the last 2 races.
That it does.
If they can hold this position, obviously it could change.
Is there an 8 or 9-point constructor difference right
now? There is a 8-point difference, I believe.
And it's 25 to 17?
Yes.
Or 25 to 18 for finish?
It's 25-18.
Okay.
With a point for fastest lap.
Yeah.
Yep. But we have here now, Luke is going to be looking to attack. Now he's no longer the defender. He is going to be the attacker.
Certainly.
But all of that was happening has actually brought in, like you said, that extra person, that third wheel. It's actually the 5th wheel.
Yeah, the 5th wheel is looking to become
in there, Kumar.
3rd or 4th wheel.
Yeah.
Kumar is, 1 second outside of Luke and 2.5 seconds outside of Landon.
But we will be looking, I would expect Luke to catch up to Landon eventually. And then we'll see one last fight near the end of this race where we are lap. We are on lap 20 here. We saw an amazing drive from Luke where he actually set up his teammate with a around 8-second gap by the time he separated from Lim.
Certainly.
And now it's up to 10. And it doesn't look like it's moving now. Alex finally goes in for his
Alex
pit.
goes into the pit. Sunbee's just coming out of the pit on his first lap on those softs now. So you can see moving to an even faster tire. We'll see how that lets them climb. They have a lot of ground to make up between them and the front pack right now. But we'll see, or I guess I should say between 4 and 5, the 4 and 5 positions, because that's really where their nearest competition is. As you can see, a very large gap between Landon and Luke of almost 25 seconds. But I think this is going to be a really interesting race, not only for constructors, but now also for the individual. Luke really giving Miller a large helping there. We're gonna see exactly how that plays out, as there is still a lot of race left.
Still a lot.
A lot can happen in 10 laps.
But we have here Kumar still being able to hold on to the back of Luke, and Landon actually is gapping Luke here. So maybe he knew, like, through the end of this race, Landon was going to get him eventually.
Yes.
It does seem like his pace is just a little bit better than Luke's, and sometimes you accept that.
Yeah.
And he did his job. He knew that Miller needed that cushion, or he maybe didn't need the cushion, but it makes a drive so much easier, right?
Certainly.
When you're like, oh, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a 10-second gap. I can actually let that gap shrink a little bit and still be safe going into the end. And it just pulls that pressure with you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I do think that there is enough of a gap now between the 2 and then the 3-4 seeds that it's not going to matter that they have an extra 3 or 4 laps on their mediums by the end of this. There's only 10 laps left, so the difference between a 12 and a 15
Yeah.
to 16
With-
isn't going to be enough to make up that huge difference unless they can start to make up a lot of time now, not based on tire wear, but just based on their racing.
So one interesting thing is I believe the mid or P3 is actually catching P2, which is going to make it actually hard for somebody like Limp to maybe try to steal that fastest lap when he realizes he can't beat him.
Certainly.
Because Landon is there. He's inside of that pit gap.
Yeah.
And technically Luke is as well. And as long as Luke is in that pit gap, he's not going to be able to pit.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. And now I think what Luke has to do is make sure he stays competitive.
Yes.
Going into the end of this, stay close enough that that gap between him and Limp stays big enough.
Yeah. To avoid
it. But we actually see there, I think Limp might have made a mistake. Uncharacteristic. Oh, he's making another mistake.
Oh man. That is, uncharacteristic is the word that I would use as well. That 20-second gap now lost 10 full seconds. That's big.
That's huge. Do you think the pressure is getting to him?
I don't think the pressure is getting to him as much as stuff just happens, and unfortunately that time it was him.
Stuff does happen. It seems weird because I thought the gap between Landon and Luke wasn't that big, but
it was big. It was 26 seconds. Originally, it was huge, or 24.
Oh, the gap between Limp and Landon.
Limp and Landon was really big.
Oh, okay.
Not so much the case
it's only
anymore.
13 now.
Luke needs to be careful. He is slowly losing pace with Landon by a tenth of a second every so often here, and it's just slowly growing, and you see it's growing faster now.
So do you think Limp is going to have to pit here? Do you think he actually took damage?
No.
Because he did spin, but did he actually take damage here? That's the real question. He stays out.
I kind of don't think he did, based on the movements I saw, and I feel like when he started spinning, he wasn't anywhere at the dead middle of the track. I feel like it was less of a damage and more of a control issue, and
all right, should we tell them?
Ooh,
So with that, I am expecting Landon to maybe creep up, get even. So this is the thing, right? Do they take team orders? So if Landon starts catching Limp because of what happened, does team orders start to come into this? Or does Landon take the second? Because if Landon takes the second position, he actually would drop Limp out of being tied with Miller and actually be losing. For the first time this season, he could be losing in the Drivers' Championship.
Certainly. I don't exactly think you're going to see that happen. There's still a pretty big gap, but like we said, there's still a lot of racing left, and you saw what can happen in a matter of a few seconds.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he recomposes himself, right?
Certainly. I'd say we've seen enough consistency throughout his entire run with those for us to fairly safely assume that he's going to remain consistent.
Yeah.
But you never know. We'll see what happens here as we have, 7 laps left?
We just have 7 laps, yeah?
Yeah, 7 laps, which is going to go by quicker than you think. Not but maybe 15 minutes left in this race here. We'll see. Maybe less.
Maybe less, maybe more now.
Maybe more. That'd have to
just
to make it more, you'd have to have some safety cars the whole time or something weird.
Yeah, let's hope not that.
Let's hope not that, exactly. Right now, we're taking a look at Limp's 25 seconds behind. But, there's not too much more racing.
So that gap between Limp and Landon is it's shrinking.
Yeah, it is shrinking. Landon is catching up to Limp, and Miller is putting even more distance between him and Limp.
He's catching up in a pace that could possibly have him finish behind Landon.
Yeah.
Depending on team orders.
Depending on how much...
Oh, and he even hits again. I think he's going to go into the pit.
Yeah, it's a strong possibility here.
I don't know if he can keep staying out right now.
The thing with Landon catching up too is that he's catching Limp. Luke isn't
losing as much.
He's not losing quite as much. So Luke his pace between him and Limp isn't growing. It's 20 seconds right now. It's not growing a ton. Or sorry, it's a little more than that. It's actually no, it's not. It's only 13 seconds.
Yeah, it's only 13.
Yeah.
It's not even big.
Yeah, 14 seconds.
So the thing is, if Limp hits for new subs, he will come out behind Kumar.
Certainly.
So I don't think he wants to pit, but he might lose his position to Lannon.
Man, and Kumar could be such an upset.
Yeah, see, he's staying out, and that makes sense because if he pits, he's gonna end up behind Kumar.
Yeah, and then you gotta make 2 positions.
The thing is he's gonna be behind with this pace. He's gonna be behind Lannon for sure.
If this pace continues,
his pace
6 more laps, he just lost 3 or 4 seconds.
He's losing 2 seconds a lap to Lannon and losing a full second to Luke. So while Luke is losing a little bit of gap to Lannon, he's actually gaining on Limp, and you just can't. It's like harder to see.
Man, I think barring any other major occurrences, I think you're gonna see Miller either move into tie or first in, or put his team ahead, possibly in constructors.
I mean, right
it's gonna
now,
depend on how Lannon and Luke also end up finishing. You know, they might. It's certainly going to bring Ferrari and McLaren into closer contention than they even are right now.
Yeah.
The gap between them, regardless of who ends up being ahead,
it was 16 and 8, I believe.
Yeah, the gap's gonna be so.
It's gonna be tight. So with how it stands right now, if it ends how it is right now, you will have them, which it looks like Lannon might have made a mistake because Luke now is actually only a second and a half behind Landon. So Landon's gonna have to keep an eye on that now. But it does help Limp, who was in danger zone or at one point that his teammate might actually pass him. But now it actually looks like he should be fine, without maybe a mistake happening.
Certainly, based on the racing I'm seeing, barring any major issues that go down, I wouldn't be surprised to see this be how the race ends up finishing, in all honesty. Based on the gapping, based on the pace we've seen so far, barring any crazy stuff, you can see Alex right on the tail of Sunby now, so they're going to be fighting for some down at the 6-7 seed there. We do have Sunby with a little bit of an advantage on those softs, but maybe on this course, that's not an advantage. Yeah, we saw that the mediums and the softs kind of have the same characteristics. I think one thing you have to remember about these tires, like with the softs and the mediums and stuff, is that through an entire lap, you'll have the tires heat up and they cool down. So like how much you can actually push the tire comes into a factor, and there's even some tracks where the mediums are almost faster, and that's not good. That's not good at all. I mean, I don't think it's gonna matter.
That drops.
As it keeps playing. The thing is,
that drops his from, and this actually gives Miller a chance to pit to secure his fastest lap here.
Yeah, he's gonna go out on softs. It's not anywhere close to enough.
We also have Luke here on the back of Landon. So we have these things, we have multiple things crashing into each other. And Alex also now, I think he's finally deciding to pass him when I leave him for another race. But through Raffles, they're still on side by side through corner, I believe, 7.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
Goes again.
He's still on the, he plays safe. And then let's go back up to 4. It doesn't look like he's going to get him. And you can see that Miller has successfully pitted and is still in front of his rival, who has a 6-second penalty. And we have Luke here now trying to fight back. And this would be bad here for them. And Racer does take that. So that's somewhat good, but it's now bad because now if Luke passes he has to, it's like whoever gets position now, where before he could actually let him pass and it wouldn't have mattered. He could just stay on him. But with that mistake, this has become an actual important battle. Because
Yeah.
before, Landon could have let him pass and then just stayed on the back of him.
Yeah, not anymore though.
Not anymore. And maybe this is hard because I want to go. I know for a fact Miller is doing a fastest lap right now.
Managed to pass Sunby. We'll shout that out and give himself a good gap on Sunby. I think it's a strong possibility Sunby made some sort either of an error or there was something that happened between them, because you don't normally see within a few seconds, or within a half a lap, a 5-second gap change there. That's something happened there. But it definitely was in the positive direction for Alex, as they are now 5 seconds ahead of Sunby. I don't think you're going to see much change in the position at the bottom outside of that, because, if you have 5 seconds behind for Sunby, if that stays consistent, Alex doesn't make enough.
I mean, this fight,
second gap without
Kumar might be able to get into this fight if they keep fighting like this.
Yeah, if they keep fighting. Kumar is looking to play spoiler here between those team points and those constructor cups, and a little bit between Landon and Luke. And then, like we said, the rest of the field is more evenly spread in terms of points. This finish for Kumar could mean a lot in terms of their individual points as well.
And with the race getting close to being over, the driver of the day poll is up. Feel free to vote for who you think is driver of the day.
Yeah. You think I'm gonna win?
You? Most likely not, because it would be impressive.
Yeah. So
because you not even being on there, that's actually really impressive.
Yeah.
But we see here Landon doing a really good job at fighting this off, and this is very important for somebody like Limp, who there was at one point there was a possibility that he might actually lose his position to his own teammate, but now has been safe for that. And sadly, because I want to make sure I don't miss this passing, we're gonna see Miller finish his lap here. Here, maybe we do this. I want to watch him finish his lap.
Yeah.
And we'll keep a finger on here.
Certainly. Luke.
Here, let's just jump back. Oh, it looks like Luke now actually separates, and you can see Kumar inching closer and closer.
Now it's only 1 second for Kumar.
And we have here now Miller coming across the line. Gets fastest lap of a 137.232. Do not expect that to be beaten.
No. Now it won't be beaten because he had the advantage of that was basically a quali lap. There was nowhere close to him.
Nobody's even close to him.
That was like a quali lap.
He had new fresh tires.
Yeah.
Definitely faster than a few of the guys did on their quali laps. That's a really quick, just normal lap.
Yeah, everyone else is kind of in contention with others a little bit, at least to the point where they're not out on softs and they're going to have a hard time.
And we have definitely gotten a convergence of these drivers with Lane and Luke and Kumar. Kumar still in this fight.
Yeah.
Trying to, make up some spots on these two juggernauts.
Certainly. If Luke ends up having to defend Kumar off, it could really mean a lot for Landon. Yes,
Landon could really afford that.
Yeah.
But with all this fighting, you know what the most interesting part is that Limp is still only like 9 seconds ahead of them. So even though they've been fighting all this time, it hasn't really cost them that much position.
No, not at all. In fact, Landon is actually closer to Limp now than they were before, and Limp is losing ground on Miller.
Well, I think we're going to see that over and over now because of the fresh softs.
That's certain. Yeah,
but I don't think he's going to push again. Like,
he won't need to. He just needs to finish now. There's 2 laps.
Yeah, he's definitely going to want to. This is a track he could easily crash on. So
certainly
a 137.232. Nobody's beating that.
No, and you could turn in some pretty slow laps here, and it won't matter at all.
I mean, he's still going fastest, but that's not a surprise.
Yes.
Well, we are here with Luke. We'll see if he can pass him. As we get closer to the end of this race, we will switch back to Miller, and then we will switch back to this fight.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he doesn't try to cross the line at the same time as he tries to pass somebody.
Coming out to their last lap here.
But we are on our second to last lap. So we do have the white flag going. And it's not a surrender flag, it is just...
Nope. That flag. Take a look. So the thing that's curious to me too is to see exactly where drivers end up with penalties, because we were saying earlier there's a lot of warnings and they're all kind of tied with the exception of Limp right now. But even another little warning could mean a lot for Landon or Luke or Kumar.
Yeah. I mean, we can see with Kumar is at 3, or 6, which means he must have a regular, like a different kind of warning.
Yeah.
Which means he is right on the border of getting another penalty, which
would really hurt.
He needs to be careful with.
Yeah.
Especially if he starts fighting, he's going to have to be careful.
It would hurt most if he starts fighting.
From what I could tell, Landon and Luke have a warning or two to spare. Landon having 3 he could spare. And then, it's like they should be okay.
Right now, we're taking a look at Luke as they are on Landon's tail. Landon is also catching up to Lim. That is going to be actually interesting. Even though there's only 1 lap left, he's only 2.7 seconds away when you take penalties into account, which means that Lim needs to be careful and not make any mistakes.
He needs to push. This is bad.
Mistake too. Mistake, penalty.
If that ends up under 3, this could be bad for him.
Yes.
So the one thing is Luke needs to keep pushing though. Like he needs to push this because his teammate, if he gets too close, he's gonna have to push, which means he's gonna have to push, which might end up resulting in, we
do have all of a sudden there's a lot more separation between all of them though.
Yes, but that gap, the all-important gap with Limp and Landon is small enough, and if it gets down below 3 seconds, it could end up being bad.
See, right now, when you take that penalty into account, it's like 1.8 right now. That's tough, especially as we have most of the lap to go here. You can see Miller coming into his sector. Soon here, coming into sector.
I got my finger ready to switch over him right before he gets past the line.
Certainly.
I guess we could switch over him. There's nobody's actually.
Yeah, if they get sub 1 second, we'll switch back.
Nobody's sub 1 second.
There's actually kind of some extension happening right
now.
But
we want to keep an eye on this Landon gap.
1.3.
Oh
no!
And Sunbee.
Who was that?
That was Sunbee.
Sunbee. Oh no.
Oh, it looks like he's trying to let Sunbee finish the race out. With that huge gap he has, he's just like, oh yeah, finish your lap. Don't get lapped.
Certainly.
And he does let him, but we have here Miller winning the Singapore Grand Prix.
Certainly. It's going to be exciting to see how we
And Limp here coming across the line, and this is all important. How close is this going to be? It looks like he actually lets out, and he does only end up 4 seconds behind here with Luke getting 4th, Kumar getting 5th. Alex is going to come into 6th, and Sunbee into 7th as long as nothing happens there. But what a race. I think Limp got really lucky with how the fighting happened behind him. He had obvious car damage going into that end. Almost got past, but his teammate made sure that did not happen.
Certainly. We have some assertions in the chat as to who owes who what.
No way.
Maybe there will be some things exchanged, cookies.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, if you thought something happened in this race, feel free to put in a ticket.
Certainly. And
we will definitely look at it. Put a racing incident ticket or whatever you deem. But I think if this is how it ends, we end up with a tied drivers championship.
Yeah.
And the constructors championship gets closer. So you get 26 plus plus 12. What is that? That's 38.
Yeah.
And then that 38 against 18 and 15.
So 33. So it gets 5 points
33.
closer, which brings them to the end. Was it 8 points?
It was 16 points.
16 points. Yeah. Okay. Well, that definitely brings them closer together. Not quite enough to make it into the single digits there, but close. Game as driver of the day.
Miller,
which is not surprising based on the finishes. We'll see. We'll watch some virtual.
Congratulations to Miller here.
It's a race.
It is Singapore, so it's most likely champion.
We'll see in a second.
in all of the like
I see some on the floor there.
in all of the Middle Eastern countries, it tends to be it's like just it's like Sprite essentially, right? It's like just bubble drink, or it's like bubble water. It's just carbonated water.
As long as it sprays.
Yeah, they just needed to be sprayed, but because the alcohol is banned in some countries.
So we see a finish. You know, you got that sandwich you were talking about there, except without a bun in the middle.
No bun.
Not yet.
No bun in this one.
Next time, they were very close to having that bun.
Yep.
But yeah, I think this is really gonna kind of tighten a lot of these races. You know.
Yeah.
Man, this is
getting. But with that, our racing order at the end of the race is going to be Miller, Limp, Landon, Luke, Kumar, Alex, Fallen, with the DNFs being Finn and Zach.
Yeah, certainly. I know neither of our DNFs are very happy about their finish, so I assume they'll be looking to avenge that, hopefully, in further races. I would definitely
but
advise
congratulations
them to do that.
And we actually got a tie for Driver of the Day in the Driver of the Day poll. Here, let me bring it up. We actually had Miller and Luke tying for the Driver of the Day.
Certainly.
I think that's actually accurate.
Yeah,
I think that was the correct choices.
I think maybe Driver of the Day, of the full day, maybe Miller. I think certainly Driver of the last half of that race, though.
Oh, definitely. He was commanding. Oh my gosh, that
with Miller would not driving have looked as impressive if what had happened with Luke didn't happen, and that was some teamwork made the dream work. That's for certain.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If you watch, like that, so you can be like, "Oh, Miller drove excellent. He did. 100%." But I think what happened is Limp also was under pressure, right? Because of that huge gap that was built, he was having to push hard to try to catch up. And then accidents were happening, and then he had damage, and you could see him actually fighting for his life to just stay into second and not lose his position from his teammate.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would have been, if Luke could find that pace to where he forced Landon into pushing him into a weird thing where you actually push the guy ahead of you into it. If Landon didn't take that penalty, I think Luke could have easily forced Landon into being pushed into passing his own teammate.
Certainly.
And that would have been hilarious to see. But because he didn't, I could easily argue that. No, it was just Miller. But also Luke gave that huge relief for him. And then that early safety car really saved Miller in the beginning because he had that mistake.
Oh man, yes,
but then
certainly
towards the end, he obviously was solid and was able to do that. Was able to get the fastest lap. Was able to get back into P1.
That safety cars can really make all the difference because
it really did.
It really hurt Limp in the beginning.
Really hurt him a lot,
and really helped Miller. You know, so it's sometimes it just comes down to luck and skill combining.
I can say I don't know if it was the smartest
for luck and skill destructing for people. One canceling out the other, unfortunately, for some people as well, because sometimes it's just not your day.
I know hindsight is 20/20, right? But I think the strategy for Limp to go onto the mediums or like go into the pits with them might not have been the best choice. I think he could have benefited more from just staying in the front.
Possibly.
But it's hard to know until after the race.
It's hard to know. I don't even think
if your decision was quality or not, right?
Yeah, and I don't even think now we can look back and say that was the case with 100% certainty, and when anytime you're, retrospecting back on something and it's still not clear, that just shows you how tough that decision is to make, not only to make under pressure in the moment.
Yeah, Landon, I'm assuming, okay, so as a watcher, I'm pretty sure, and I guess if you're playing team play, I was assuming you were driving as fast as you could, aka defending Luke off, to keep that gap between your teammate and yourself, because that gap kept getting closer and closer. But also, Luke did a number on your teammate, which was amazing too, defending him off, letting Miller get an 8-second gap by the time he pit, which was impressive. But if Landon, you were actually defending near that end to make sure your teammate beat you, well, hats off to you, because you needed to make sure that happened. Yes, I was assuming, because that gap kept getting smaller with you and Limp, and it was like, you guys are definitely going slower than you guys have been that whole time.
Yeah.
I
think it showed.
It showed, because we knew if you went any faster, you would have beat your teammate, and that's what Luke was trying to do. You guys were both. You were trying to slow him down. He was trying to speed you up, but you also had to make sure he didn't pass you, because if he passed you, he could have just free reign towards your teammate. So that was a hell of a job. I know we didn't have a bunch of drivers, but I think the drivers we did have, it was quality.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fighting still. We did have that natural law that happens with low driver count.
Yeah, certainly. Unfortunately, we had, a couple of drivers not finish the race, which I think kind of played also into some of the team driving outside of some of our top teams not be quite as exciting as if obviously both team members were still in the race together. But from the people who did finish the race with both team members still in the race, we saw a lot of good driving and, more importantly, great teamwork.
Great teamwork from both sides.
Yeah.
And we should have the Drivers' Championship tied going into the last two races. Yeah. And then we should have the Constructors' Championship into, how much was the gap again?
Oh, I believe it ends up being like
it was
11,
32
12,
and 38
13, somewhere in there.
So it's like 6 minus 6, so it's like 10.
It's
roughly very 10 between Ferrari and McLaren. So exciting. It's getting coming into the last two races. Yeah. Anybody can win. So we'll see
exactly.
But on that note, I think we'll have the next race, which is going to be in the Americas, so the United States. And it's actually going to be
I've heard
COTA,
of this.
So Circuit of the Americas, so the Circuit of Americas, which is going to be a really fun track. I actually got to go there in person, which was really cool.
It's going to be exciting.
But on that note, I was your host, Stinky Juan.
Yeah.
I was here with
middle name Orion.
And we'll see you guys all next week.
Looking forward to it.